basically it's set up to be a dead end, just to.
Are you trying to look like a cult? Because it seems like you're trying to look like a cult.
Yeah, because you're doing a pretty good job.
Based on the literature, and it went exactly that way.
This all started because we had a hurricane here. We couldn't walk away from them. I begged God and prayed and prayed and prayed and was like,
we have to do this. We should have seen it with the isolation, putting people in the middle of nowhere, actually all but prohibiting them to talk to anyone in the outside world.
yeah,
You know what I mean? That's a big part of it.
not letting them leave.
Not letting them leave, not letting them leave the property. Just the us versus them thing that they're portraying online. The bad mouthing of members when they simply leave because they don't like how they're being treated.
Parading them around on video for.
Well, see, you noticed it. I mean, you noticed that stuff that a lot of people wouldn't notice. Obviously, they've been
I feel
doing
like we
this.
should have noticed
They've been
it
doing this
sooner.
for so long, obviously, and they're getting away with it because most people don't notice these signs, and it's probably
Yeah.
because of Mike's background and Danielle's background in cult and human trafficking, and your background in, well, we know what your background is from back in the day. So between that, you guys are.
But I am kind of a nerd that reads a lot. I'll say
Yeah.
that.
Okay, well, we'll go with that one. But with those two backgrounds combined, you guys have a very unique radar for these type of things, and I know that. And so that's why you noticed all this shit, because a lot of this clearly is not being noticed because it's still happening. And the fact that the woman that's running the scam uh, is successful at it, that's number one. Number two, this guy with the YouTube following, he's kind of successful with what he's doing, and he's benefiting off of that. They're both winning at what they're doing in with this scam operation, right?
Right.
Exploiting people. And so, yeah, I mean, they don't want that to stop. I mean, obviously, but yeah, that's what I'm saying, is that you guys noticed it. A lot of people wouldn't notice the signs. So now that you know, and you've kind of tried to put it out there to try to let other people know, to warn them so that they don't fall into the same scam, right?
Yeah.
I think it's probably helped some people. It has to have helped some people by now. But at the same time,
Oh.
you've caught a lot of flack from it, and now
Yeah.
you're taking arrows right and left. She lost her job. You guys got to watch your kids now. You got police reports, people chasing you, get trying to
It
fire.
sounds like a crazy story in the world. I can't believe it's our real life, honestly.
It's a lot to deal with. I mean, that is a lot of shit to deal with.
You know what's funny? After you just said all that, if there's anyone that doubts that this is a cult, all that stuff you just said, it's funny. It like happens to us, and you're just in it, and you get used to it, and you don't
Yeah.
realize
Right.
quite how bad it is. But all those things, are you trying to look like a cult? Because it seems like you're trying to look like a cult.
Yeah, because you're doing a pretty good job of looking like
Yeah.
a cult.
I mean, I'm looking at this thing, and I'm looking at actually the positions within the cult, and I'm like, check, 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 and I'm like,
Yeah.
some people would say, who cares? Some of these people are getting helped. Outside of that, most at worst, they were already in a horrible situation, so it's not going to change this, that, and the other.
Oh,
But I'm just like, hold on a second, man. You don't know that it wasn't going to change for those people.
right.
They don't realize they're getting used. That's maybe the worst part.
Yeah.
They're being exploited. They're being
It's a
exploited.
problem.
When you're being exploited, you're not in the right mind frame. You think these
Right,
people are
no.
helping you.
But yeah,
And-
you don't want to seem ungrateful either. It's like, oh, they're, I was on the street living in the woods yesterday, and now I'm, safe and warm here, like, and I got to
Right.
eat something.
Right. Now
That's
you're
bare minimum.
right now you're marginally doing better. You've got a
Right.
few more things going, but it's the bare minimum. So you don't want to ruin that You don't want to talk bad about the person that's providing that, but you know something's off, you know something's wrong. So
The best example I could give to people who've never quite been in that situation before. Here's one that either they probably have been in or someone close to them has. You're in a bad situation. Maybe you lost your job. Maybe you did have like a drug problem, something like that, and you have nowhere to stay. So you end up crashing with someone living there, and you have nowhere else to be. You have to walk on eggshells, do anything that person wants, ride or die with them, which could
Yeah.
mean all kinds of things depending on who they are.
Yeah.
sure.
You know,
And their relationship and when they should.
yeah, I've been in that situation, so
Yeah.
maybe I identify with this. And so you're in that situation, and after a while, God, it's similar to like Stockholm syndrome or something.
It
You
is.
actually end up entangled with that person's life.
Yes.
You end up
Sure.
maybe even agreeing with them on things that you would have never seen yourself agreeing with them, because it's just based on your need for them and for what they're providing.
Yeah.
Right.
And by then, you've been wrapped up with so much drama with them. You have either forcefully or not basically had no contact with anyone in the outside world. You've been made to believe that, again, depending on the person that you're staying with, you've been made to believe that that's the only person that cares about you. You know, so this is your situation. You know, it's similar to how somebody raised into slavery or something would probably have to think. Like you have to just think, this is my situation. Here's how I have to act. And after a while, it just becomes commonplace for you. And that's what that's the best way I would describe it. But yeah, it is a dependency,
Yeah.
a dependency, and you know, obviously, and this is something that's not brought up much is the fact that a huge part of this that a big victim in this is the person who thinks they're giving to a righteous cause,
Yeah.
a person who gives something in particular or believes in one part of the thing and it's not true. You know,
Yeah.
it's
It comes all the way down from another state to help clear the entire land.
yeah, we've got some interesting interviews that kind of detail this stuff a little better, but those people are being victimized too.
Yes.
Sure.
They're you know, in most cases they have no recourse. They gave to someone who had no 501c3. There's no paper trail. They're not claiming it on taxes. They
Right.
gave something. You know,
There's nothing you can do.
yeah, there's really nothing you can do. What are you going to do? Go to the police and say, okay, I gave them a camper that was supposed to be for this couple that I really felt for that I saw on the screen, but for some reason they withheld the title. They kicked those people out. They gave it to another person. Then they sold it. The cops are going to be like, dude, you gave them a camper.
Yeah,
What are you
like,
even
what do
talking
you
about?
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
it's-
so that those people are victimized too.
Yeah.
And when you start doing the math at how much they're bringing in, it's it's ridiculous. Like, you know, and we got into it with them at court where they were laughing about this.
Oh, it was sick.
Like laughing that I have to go to work.
Yeah.
Like saying things like Ronnie said you know, keep coming to court. I got all the money in the world and all the time.
Yeah.
You know,
He doesn't work.
and I said, you know, yeah,
sure.
that's because you prop homeless people up and exploit people for a living. And he goes,
Yeah.
yeah, I thought maybe I'd clock in an hour or two,
Yeah.
you know, and had a big laugh with John. Yeah. And I'm just like, my God. And
I about threw up right there at the courthouse. That was disgusting to hear that. My stomach just like flipped. It was just so gross.
I'll admit that I've
It
gotten
sounds like a
fed up
stellar
with,
citizen.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And
All of them.
I've gotten fed up with the general public who come to us with information and say, but I don't want to use my name.
Or don't use
I
this,
won't show
don't
my
use that.
face.
It's like,
It's like, well, listen, man, they've got a whole PR team that's just going to discredit everything. Basically, say I had a make believe person talk.
right.
No one's
Right.
going to take it seriously, you know. So you need to, and it's like, yes, you might deal with some crap, but in all honesty,
We're
no,
taking the crap for
We're
you.
gonna take
so
the
don't
crap.
worry about
You're
it.
talking about like signing an affidavit, right?
I haven't gone that far in anything.
Oh, us? No. It was
Or
done
the
right
people
there.
we interview, you mean?
Well, like if you interviewed or like your street interviews where you're talking to some of these homeless people that are being exploited by them, if you got them to sign an affidavit saying, "Yeah, I'm being exploited for this, blah 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 blah," it's like a one-page thing, and it's admissible in court. You know what I'm saying? So you take a bunch of those, or just a couple of them anyway, and kind of gives you standing
Huh.
to
I didn't even
bolster
think
your
To
about
be
case.
that.
honest, I didn't even know that. I mean, I know it's a thing, but
I
I
didn't know
didn't.
that we could do that.
We are not investigative journalists.
We
That's the
love
problem. You know
investigative
what I mean?
journalism, but
It's
we're not.
great. That's one of the things that we decided to not do as a thing. We
Right.
rather be just fans of it.
Right,
You
and that
know?
goes back to the earlier point that this was not something you guys were looking for.
No.
It's about staying in your lane. You guys already were in a lane,
Yeah.
and you just stumbled upon this thing, and
It
you were trying to do the right thing by, you know, you saw something that wasn't right, and you you know were inquisitive about it, started asking questions, trying to figure things out. You found out something was wrong, someone was rotten in Denver, so you started investigating a little bit, and then it turned into this whole thing because these other people who are doing this, they're, they got their feathers ruffled up because now they're like, oh, we're being exposed, we can't let that happen. So they're piling in, jumping on you, trying to, like, put a stop to it. But it kind of seems also to me that, because I saw that one video where the dude was like, oh, you guys are so small fry, your channel, blah blah blah, whatever. I'm like, okay, so if you really feel like that, why are you putting so much work and effort into
Yeah.
trying to crush them? If you've already dismissed them, if they're so insignificant, why are you channeling all your forces to try to do all this? Because he doesn't really believe that. I think he really actually feels like there's a threat here, but he can't
yeah.
define it real well because
Yeah.
again, look at where he's from. And I'm not saying anything about North Carolina. I'm just saying
Or he's from Tennessee.
look at
Tennessee.
his world, his lifestyle and what he does, his channel. He's not about that life.
No.
No,
Huh.
no.
He is
No.
not about that life. Anything that the type of shit that you do, she's done, I've done. He has no knowledge about
No.
any of that stuff. But in his world, I think because he's feeling threatened and he's feeling himself because of his channel and his fans and his followers, he thinks that equates to something. So he
Yeah.
thinks by leaning on you guys, it's making him feel good. I'm sure it is.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
In some way he's feeling good about this. He's feeling, yeah, this is making me feel good. I haven't felt this way in years. And
That's funny. I said
He's
something
real
similar to him. I said, you're probably a guy who really wasn't too good with the ladies. You got a broken marriage. You had a boring job. You're not wealthy. You've never done anything exciting in your life. You've probably never felt like a man, maybe. You never felt significant. And that's probably, like you just said, that's what he's feeling now.
Oh, he's feeling some
And
power.
and I'll tell you, it's kind of like
something.
the first time you win a fight. It's the first time you have a business deal or idea that works well.
Yeah.
It's you feel amazing,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
He's probably getting high off of this whole thing. He's getting juiced off of it.
Oh yeah.
That's how I feel. That's how I feel. But um, because I did go to his channel that one time because he mentioned me for some reason. I wasn't even involved in any of this.
Yeah, the extreme.
No.
It was because of
Starts
extreme
talking about
kidnapping.
me, and I'm like, what the fuck? So
Uh-huh.
I pinpointed the exact. I had to scroll through like 10 minutes worth of comments, and I found the comment, and I was like, okay, I'm here now. Now what? Because he's like, I'm gonna find this guy, this Adam Thick guy. And I'm like,
Oh my
okay.
god.
I'm like, okay, I'm here now. Now what?
Yeah.
Nobody ever replied. Ever
And
replied
it's
after
funny,
that.
in every video of yours, I believe I like have your email. I'm almost positive. I have
Yeah.
the website on there.
Yeah.
Like it's very easy to, and that's the other thing. That the thing that's crazy to me is that the stuff he quote unquote exposes about us is made up out of thin air. It doesn't even make
Oh
sense.
my gosh.
Yeah,
That we
I know.
didn't let all of
I
you
saw that
know.
part.
Like,
It's unreal. Like,
His
and so
investigations are horrible. I mean,
yeah, he doesn't
I
investigate.
mean, who's he got? Like, I mean,
I don't know, man.
Barney Fife, dude.
I
I mean, he's
think
kind
you do a
of.
better job.
I think that
Yeah.
he, like you said, he's feeling himself, and he feels like he can just say anything.
He does.
I really
He feels
do.
like there's no
Yeah.
recourse. Everyone is going to believe him no matter what, and we're just piss ants, and he's gonna, be right no matter what.
And as per the
And
norm,
he won't have any consequences.
he doesn't even realize this. While he's feeling like the man, look at how much dedication we're putting into talking about him. Look at how now. Well, I'll leave that part out. Just look at how much of the attention is going to him. Deanna must be laughing her ass off.
Yeah.
He's essentially, just a capo who's catching the charges, who's doing the dirt.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
That's
sitting
a
back
good
there
point. That's a
like,
good point because she's got to be pleased with the whole thing because he's doing his job. He's out front. He's trading blows with the
yeah,
minivan musicians. You know what I'm saying? And so she's sitting back going,
Yeah.
So
it ain't
whatever. I
affecting her
mean,
none.
they're, I just feel like people like this, they last a long time because they've gotten really good at their camouflage and they've gotten
Yeah.
good at their
That's right.
game, and they usually find a niche and they're embedded like a tick in that
Yeah,
niche. You know what I'm saying? And they just keep milking it and milking it and milking it, and then every once in a while something like this pops up. People like you guys pop up and throw a wrench in it, and that screws up, their bottom line for a
I'm
minute.
just amazed that they're amazed by it. I'm amazed that they're blown away that someone's going to criticize them in that way.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have you been ready for that? And I mean, also, and maybe you can give some input on this, having a bit of a background in psychology. I think that the only way that this can come to an end outside of something horrible happening, I don't mean the beef between us and them necessarily. I mean the cult itself. The only way that this could come to an end is something horrible happening, and it could be legal or whatever. Or, people coming together and raising enough awareness to where the thing just doesn't thrive, or infighting. So
Yeah.
you've got him with an enormous ego. You've got her not just with an ego, but this is her like,
It's her baby.
yeah, it's her baby. It's her
Yeah.
live stream. And then you've got Ronnie over there who's the enforcer, who's become kind of the public face in his own right. He's been doing the prayers, and she's rarely on camera. So at some point, he does something stupid, John portrays something the wrong way, things like that. Just for people who see something similar like this going on around them, perhaps if there's any way, if you have any in to anyone in the situation, that might be the way
to bring it down.
Yeah, maybe those, I don't know what you think, but maybe those personality traits, possibly they collide between those people.
At some point, even if you guys weren't involved, if you never got involved in this, at some point, I think that those three people would one of them would be dissatisfied with what they're getting out of this.
Yeah.
One of them, probably not the woman, but one of the other two guys. One of them would be dissatisfied with what they're getting out because they would feel like, well, I deserve more because I do more. He's not doing
Yeah.
as much as I do. I deserve more. So there'd be infighting eventually. Maybe not today, not tomorrow, not next year, but eventually one of them would be dissatisfied and there'd be infighting. And one or two of them would lose their place. But there'd
Right.
still be one person to pick up the pieces and go on with the operation. That's usually how it happens. So
Yeah, she'll
at
find
the,
husband number 7.
at the end of the day, I think it would probably keep on because I feel like the woman that's running this operation, she has found a niche, and it's just low key enough, and it's preying on people that don't have a voice to begin with.
That's exactly
So,
it.
so there's not a lot of advocacy for them and a lot of awareness. The cops ain't coming around, trying to help out. There's not. Covenant House coming down there trying to help out. DHS ain't coming around. None. And HHS definitely ain't gonna be coming around now. Now that we know about that. But the point is that she's found a niche of people to exploit that it's so quiet that no one's really ever gonna know. You know what I mean?
It's funny. It's what they say as their defense of themselves. They say no one cares about homeless people.
Yeah.
Well, that's precisely what they're using.
Right.
And,
That's their niche.
and
That's what they're
when I was
counting on.
looking
That's
in,
what they're counting on.
when
And
I was
so,
looking into the possibility of them infighting, like you just said, I was looking at, and it'll sound like a huge leap, but it's not really. The Rajneeshis. They had they did a series on them on Netflix called Wild Country, I think.
Yeah.
They were in the 80s. It was this
Horrible cult.
Far East cult type of thing. Uh, they had the Bhagwan, who was like the religious, he was the chosen one, whatever. But then there was a woman named Ma Anand Sheila, and she was the face, the voice. Like she was the one dealing with the media, all these things, and she was the enforcer.
Yeah.
She started doing things, poisoning people, causing undue attention on the cult, causing a lot of problems.
yeah.
And that's basically what made them fall apart.
Yeah.
It was that.
She
There's
took
still people
over.
that believe in it because of the spiritual aspect. And before people think that that's a leap, that part is identical. And as far as them having the religious, the religious thing as a background, Sisters in Christ does too. I'll say that again. Sisters in Christ also have the religious thing. And as far as the religious thing within the Rajneeshis, people have to understand that they weren't learning necessarily the inner workings of the faith-based system. They were just living a certain way and being told that you're free to be this way and that the outside world hates you, you're free here,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. So yeah, some really believed in the religious aspect of it, but most of the time they were just homeless people who had nothing, and they were also like people who had been really into psychedelics and stuff. They're like the remainder of the hippie generation. They were
Right.
lost, so they
Yeah.
brought them in. They gave them something to believe in. That they gave them what they thought was a shot at life,
Yeah.
and that belief system, like Sisters in Christ, uses the Bible as much as they can, but they don't have much biblical knowledge. So it doesn't really come across that way to anyone who's an actual Christian, because they're like, what the heck are they talking about? But of course, just like I was saying earlier, as far as the person who's the leader of this, she's not saying that she's a descendant of Jesus Christ or anything like this other guy that's running around right now. But what she's saying is, I have a theology degree. I worked in corrections.
Yeah.
The Rutherford County authorities used to bring me homeless people out, save their lives. I am an HIV survivor.
And I
So
run
she's
it.
like an expert.
Yes,
Yeah.
and
She's an
she's just
expert on the
overcome
whole.
so much. And
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
get it. I get it.
and there's one thing that I keep wanting to point out, and I hate the fact that the average person isn't bothered by this, but a lot of times she's pulling people in who are actively addicted to drugs, and she makes them sweat it out. So she brings them in and forces them to essentially be in a hot tent, sweat it out, and just deal with it cold turkey. And that is extremely dangerous,
Yeah.
especially with these people that are like really
You have
unhealthy.
no idea what they're even.
It's dangerous. Like, good God, like if they're hooked on Xanax or alcohol,
They could
the
die.
withdrawals will kill you.
Yeah.
So she's doing that, but at the same time, able to say, I'm helping them essentially build that character that I can do it, that sort of thing, and strengthening them. But interestingly enough, you almost never see those people on camera.
No.
Never. I mean, honestly, if they told their story, it sounds like abuse. It is abuse.
Yep.
And I mean, people say like, oh, well, damn, like that's great. At the end of it, they end up off of drugs. Number one, probably for a little while, but also it's a control thing. And at some point they're going to get kicked out or they're going to leave because of the way they're treated. And they're going to relapse harder than ever.
Yeah.
It's going to mess with them more. I mean, seriously, dude, like we are just on the receiving end of this person. And, we can barely deal with it, like mentally and emotionally.
Oh yeah, it's very
Imagine being the person
very
who
hard.
lives there 24 hours a day and now has nothing. Like she's taken this big chunk of time from them. She's put them in a place where they have no outside communication. They're not even really allowed to talk to each other. So then you're going to get thrown out in the world and you probably just want to explain your story, but nobody's going to understand it, you
Right.
know? And then they're also going to say, well, you're a grown person.
Yeah, you chose to be there.
Yeah, you chose to be there. You're surviving on the street as it is. Why didn't you just walk away? And it's like,
It's like an abusive relationship.
it's
not
very
that
much,
easy.
well, it is an abusive
Yeah,
relationship.
it is. It is.
And, you know, she just keeps building, 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 where it's like our goal is to have 50 hot tents, like 50 to 100 people, depending on how many are in each tent. And, you know, some will graduate to campers, but there's no transitional program. They're not being taught anything. There's
Right.
no one coming around with medical services.
No,
They're not
there's no
learning the
editing
Bible.
your AI.
There's
It's a dead end. It's basically it's set up to be a dead end just to get what
use them,
yeah, just use them. That's it.
cycle them through.
Yep.
Right. There's
That's
no
the only thing
yeah.
that was the only thing I had trouble with when I went through the whole bullet points of what makes a cult and they fit it, was that she kind of strives to cycle people through, not to have long-term members.
Yeah.
To
Right.
her, the people are all the same.
Yep.
That's the thing. It does
It's
not
just
matter.
despicable. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, they're just, and then also, there's always going to be a few that are dedicated that you've brainwashed. I mean, there's a guy there now who could essentially be considered, I don't know, a lieutenant in this organization.
Yeah.
He's the guy from within, and I've talked to him back and forth in text, and he believes that they've gotten him to a place to where his life matters now. The thing is, he did it all himself. He doesn't even see. He's from Melvindale, Michigan, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
It's insane, isn't it?
It's crazy.
Wow.
But you
Small
know,
world.
yeah, and I mean, this is something that he puts out there. It's not as though I'm investigating this guy, but the fact of the matter is that at one point he wanted to talk,
He did.
but then he was given his camper, you know, and they started putting him on film telling his story. And if you watch him tell his story, they're making him admit to things. It it is like Scientology in
It's
a way.
so creepy.
They're
Right.
making him admit the thing. So that way, if he decides to turn on them,
They
they can
that.
say, dude, this guy was an addict. He was this and that. Come on, man.
Right.
Are you serious? And it always works.
Yeah,
Always
they
works.
clearly got a process, but so let now that we've kind of like gotten the full picture of this whole thing, we have the whole scope of it now. I think that the the viewers that have been, you know, getting pieces of this kind of get a better picture now of what's really going on, and that
Yeah.
you know, like it's not just a simple beef between two YouTube channels. You know,
No.
there's a deeper issue here. So now that everyone's got, I hope, a better grasp on the situation, so that they know that you guys weren't out there looking for beeps to get numbers or something like that. It's like
No,
it was the
No.
last
no.
thing you were looking for. You care less about that. Now that they know, let's wrap it up and kind of like have a final word. We'll hear from Mike, and then we'll hear from Danielle, and then we're gonna peace out. Mike, go.
All righty. Yeah, I really want people to know that, like you just said, we're not after these shallow things. We found ourselves, and I mean, you also have to look at our timing, the context of it. We found ourselves in a situation to where we've found our own personal faith. We've kind of become more so the people that we've kind of always wanted to be, as far as our character and everything. And so she was doing a lot of charity work and things like that. So basically, it was something maybe we were going to take a little bit personal. Like I was trying to become kind of a leader in the church and help certain people who were lost and kind of give them some sort of position, at least in an interpersonal level. She was doing charitable work and she's training in anti-trafficking and things like that. And I'm kind of building a community with people, not just through business, but I was helping a lot of people who lost everything in the flood, giving them products for almost nothing. Like they lost all their stuff. So we're in this kind of sphere where we are having a lot of empathy for people. we're paying attention to what's going on around us. And of course, this is going to jump out at us. So we felt at the time, still do, that we're doing the right thing. What we're doing and noticing and feeling is 100% in line with where our lives were and where God was putting us. I mean, we've prayed on this. We sought counsel on it, everything. So it people have to understand that this is truly about those people we met that were put out and just nearly died, or who were purposely put in danger.
Yes.
One in particular for asking questions.
Yeah.
You know, and then all the people in the community that have been victimized, and all the good that, you know, I'm not trying to say that we're like saints or something, or we're doing
Not at all.
so much more than anyone else,
We were
but
doing-
all the good specifically she was doing. And the people we've interviewed some on our channel who have done just amazing things, and we're covering one tomorrow. I'm just trying to make it clear that exposing what they were doing, or at least calling it out to where we thought they might correct it, that was maybe in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
If I point out, dude, you're marketing this wrong, it's an insult to Helene survivors. Don't destroy a local business for, you know, I don't care if you're helping people with that whole cult and justify the means thing. Just, you know, tighten up. It's basically, I thought maybe we could have a little sway in that way, because, like we were saying, it's not a million people is going to see us, but she will. So that was kind of the thought. We were just in the mind frame of, we are going to help some people here. It's par for the course in the other things we're doing in life. It's been put in front of us at a time like that. We have to do this. You know what I mean? It's we don't really have a choice. Now, as far as the back and forth goes, it's like, listen, if you're going to sit there and attack our character and basically make things up, and you're going to tell lies on other people that are doing good, or tell lies on us, all we're going to do is take what you say and like show the truth. I mean, we haven't dug very deep. We haven't sought anyone out. They've all come to us.
Yeah.
We didn't go into this like, you know what? I'm going to find a way for this to fit the puzzle of being a cult.
Right,
No,
right,
it
right.
just honestly clicked to us one day. I think I said it out loud. I said, "This is a fucking cult." Like, and I immediately went to the experts and looked at it, and I was like, "Okay, I remembered this from when I learned it. This is true." And
Yeah.
it's gonna. We actually, you know, it's not us saying that we're smarter than anyone else or that we have ESP. We basically said it's gonna go this way, based on the literature, and it went exactly that way.
Sure.
So I don't know how much better I can get it across to people
Well,
that this is what we're saying it is. I mean,
right,
but
right.
we have dealt with sycophants growing up where I can literally point the camera at the sky in the video, say the sky is blue, and we will get 50 comments saying that not only is that incorrect, but we are garbage people, criminals, drug addicts. And I'm just like, oh my God. Like,
Well,
they're kind of cult members on their own.
They are.
yeah, sure. I
They,
mean,
they sort of are. Like, I mean, they
Yeah.
have to see that they are defending a guy who's been exposed at least with some lies. And it's like, why? What are you getting out of this?
hopefully some of these people will take a closer look at that and be like, well, you know, have I been drinking the Kool-Aid? You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
You know,
Am
maybe,
I
but
acting?
at least if they watch this with an open mind, which half of them won't, but maybe a few people will, and they'll be like, everything he's been talking about doesn't really fully add up, and I kind of fit the profile of a lot of the things that these people are talking about. So yeah, I agree
Yeah.
with 100%. Danielle, let's final words.
Um, we this all started because we had a hurricane here.
Yeah.
One of the worst hurricanes in the history of the country. When that hurricane happened, a lot of things changed for a lot of people, including us.
Yeah.
We were already at the point where we were, a lot closer to our faith. I think it brought us even closer to our faith going through that and going through it together. Um, it brought me closer to the church that I was a part of and to then the charity that I was working with, which is, kind of hand in hand with that church. Um, and I am a very closed off person most of the time. for 4 years that I've lived here, I did not have any friends by choice because I don't like people. Okay, I don't like people. I have love and empathy for people, but I don't like people. I've been screwed over too many times in my life, so I didn't need friends or anything. I didn't want that. Well, this hurricane, as horrible as it was and still is, 7 months later, it brought me to a lot of people that I was like, oh my god, I found my people. This is my community. I love these people. I got close with people. I let my guard down, which I don't do, and I let people in, and I let people into my life and become my friends. So I thought, um, so on that journey, we were still covering the damage that Helene had done, and then the good things that everybody was doing in the community.
Yeah.
Whether it was the people that I had met and was working with, or other people that we met that are doing great things, and some of them still are. And it led us to finding this situation. And like you said, we're not people that don't notice these things like other people. And I think that maybe I had the blinders up a little bit for a while from this whole sense of community that I felt so strongly. Because seeing people do such amazing things and helping each other in such incredible ways, I've never witnessed that before.
No.
I've never seen it before, not where we're from. I've never seen it. So seeing that, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. These people are amazing. So my blinders were up for sure. And that I'm ashamed of that because I'm not that person. My blinders are never up. So I didn't really, pick up on things as quickly as I think I should have, with a lot of things. And
It's a lot going on.
and then things started to come out from a bunch of different angles. And then we ended up finding this. And yeah, like we said, we had no intentions of covering this. It has changed our life in a negative way. At the same time, it allowed me to kind of see things for what they are. I've seen people's true colors. There's still some incredible people here, incredible people. But there's also some people that are just cowards. And there's also some people that are just pieces of shit, like these people that we're dealing with. So, in closing, I think that we stumbled upon this, and we could have walked away 20 times, probably should have walked away 20 times. We haven't walked away because we do have that empathy. And I think a lot of that comes from our faith in God. We do have that empathy for people in their situations because I know what it's like to be in a
We've
bad
been there.
situation.
Yeah.
We've been in those situations together. We've been in those situations separately.
We're barely out of that situation.
We're barely surviving just like most Americans. Um, and we just, once we heard what was going on and really saw what was going on and met these people, we couldn't walk away from them. I begged God and prayed and prayed and prayed and was like, please tell me what to do. Like, should I walk away from this? And it's like, no, in my gut, it was the right thing to do to try to bring attention to this and see if we could at least prevent more people from getting hurt by this. So, do I regret it? I don't know. Part of me does, part of me doesn't, but I still, in the end, feel like what we came into doing and what our intentions were and are is the right thing. So.
Yeah,
Right on.
and I mean, as far I just want to say that what our goal is with this is basically to educate people to know what to notice or
Yes,
what to
definitely. Keep your eyes open.
100% definitely. And I'm not gonna pull anyone's chain. Yeah, I want to negatively affect what they're doing. I'm not out for vengeance. That's not what this is. I just really want to give those people a voice, perhaps decrease the amount of people who get suckered. I won't allow them to get suckered. And decrease the amount of people that they can exploit.
Yeah.
But I'm at the point now where I'm going to say, if you're thinking of giving to them, and once this project is out, if you're smart enough to do some research on who you're giving to, and you Google it, and you find all of this information and you still give, that's your fault.
Yeah.
If
You're
you,
complicit then.
as far as a person who's powerless on the street, I can't really say that sort of thing about them.
No.
I can't. It's just unfortunate that they may find themselves in that situation, victimized. There's only so much I can do.
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
I
like
mean,
they
I
say, you
have
can lead a horse to
resources.
water, but you can't make them drink it. And that
right.
is true
Exactly.
with
But you
farm
can make them
animals,
drink
and it's true with
Kool-Aid.
people in
Yeah.
real life.
You may drink Kool-Aid though.
Yeah.
But I mean, when I'm at the point where I'm having to arm myself and spending time in court and my finances are
Multiple
screwed up,
courts.
and it just all of these things, and I'm being forced to act outside my character. There's only so much I can give. I'm just about at the end of it, and we'll see what this project does. That's
Right.
all it is a single project. I'll let these people know. There's
Well, that's
one thing I'm putting out about you, and I've told John, you're a blip in it. You aren't even much of a part of it. I know you're going to take that as an ego hit, that you're not much of a part of it, but you're not that important in it. And I feel like, listen, if I did my due diligence of studying, if I properly interpreted what people said, if I cross-checked, made sure everyone had the same story, put the work in, and conveyed it in an intelligent and measured manner, like we've had a few people comment, like, I like the way you guys do this, and it doesn't work.
Well, then at least
I
we
don't
can
know.
say that we tried everything we possibly
I
could.
tried so
Right.
hard.
Then I can walk away and be like, well, you know what? I
Yeah.
really tried as hard as I possibly could. And what happens from there is in God's hands now.
I do want to give a shout out to true investigative reporters.
Oh, yeah.
I could have never understood what they probably went through, at least at the beginning, before they had, like, say, a machine behind them of a major network or something. The threats and the stress, and just, another thing that bothers you is people not believing you.
Yeah.
You put this work in that doesn't even benefit you, and people are like, you're a liar, you're this, you're that. It's like, why? Like, what would be my purpose of doing
Why
that?
would I put myself through all this?
And these people, there aren't many, but the real investigative journalists, I've got to give it to them, because, and I actually said this the other day, and this is a random shout out. People can take from it what they want, whatever their political leanings are. But we're at the gas station after dealing with some of the worst of this, and I said, Donald Trump is the baddest motherfucker like I've ever witnessed. The amount of stuff that came at him that was similar to this, destroying your family, your reputation, basically putting you on trial for treason.
Yeah.
Someone who will go in the history books as betraying the greatest nation in the history of the world, getting shot at, and never budging from your beliefs and promises after that. I had moments of doubt where I'm like, screw this, I just want to back away and I'm like, no, I can't do it after seeing something like that. So blame Trump. She's got a picture or sticker of Trump's, like, silhouette on her car. It looks kind of like Alfred Hitchcock with the hair.
Oh, I've seen
And
those.
blame him. Blame him, because before that, I can't even think of anyone who had that kind of courage to put up with that kind of crap and keep going with it. Regardless of what you think he believes in or is right or not. The guts it takes to do that. I'm telling you guys, I'm on this micro version of what he dealt with.
Yeah. A micro.
And I'm from a place of true adversity, and I'm telling you, it's tough. But these people out there, we have to help them. We have to get the word out. I'm going to do the damn project. I'm a nerd. I enjoy stuff like this. Let me enjoy the creative part of it. Just put this damn thing out. If it doesn't work, I did what I could do. Hopefully someone else who watches it and cares about this topic,
And maybe has more power than we do.
and maybe more talent. Go ahead, please. I'm begging you, like, do that, because I only have so much reach in this situation. And to be honest, I would rather be covering country general stores.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I'll go into
ghost towns.
whatever.
Well,
I'm going on about it, but it's just, I need people to understand that I'm not using the cult word lightly. You'll see that very soon. We said some of it here. This is a real danger because there is a goal. as far as the amount of people basically having this go forward forever. There are people getting victimized, and they are ramping up.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
only been how long has she been doing this? Since November. So I mean, you're looking at like 6 months.
Yeah.
You're looking at 6 months, and this thing has grown to the level where they have something they can present and be like, this is Hope Village, with all the marketing and everything around it. People may think that's not significant, but it worked. It's worked quickly, and it will only continue to grow at that same rate.
Yes.
That's
Right
it.
on. Well, thanks for the interview. I had a good time doing it. It was very, very illuminating. Hopefully the viewers enjoyed it as much as I did. Thanks to Mike and Danielle from Minivan Musician. I'm Adam Thick. Peace out and enjoy this video and watch it. Think about it and watch their video when it comes out. I think it's a documentary or something like that. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's a big project and I'm personally looking forward to it. Enjoy. Good night.